Hey, we're finishing up. Super excited to finish up our Nomad series, Nomadic Living. We've been talking about this series for the month of June, and I think it's really appropriate to talk about nomad and hopping around and that nomadic existence. We talked about it with David, talked about it with Jesus, talked about it with the Gadarene demoniac, what? But, oh my goodness, I'm super stoked for this episode. And the reason why is because I think in this episode, you're going to really sense God's heart for you and his desire for you to come home. And I'm bringing this to your attention because when you read in Luke chapter 15, Jesus does 3 parables. He does a parable of the lost sheep, the lost coin, and what we know as the lost son, or in America we call it the prodigal son. And in these 3 parables, very, very interesting parables, they all demonstrate some element of something being missing, lost, like the sheep 1 out of 100, and the shepherd goes to find the one, the lost coin, the woman lights a lamp, sweeps, and searches intently till she finds a coin, and the prodigal son. So in the prodigal son, this is interesting because a man has 2 sons, an older son and a younger son. And the younger son comes to him and says, "Dad, give me my share of the inheritance." Super rude. Like, how could you be more rude? In essence, the kid is saying to his dad, "I wish you were dead because all I want is your money." That's kind of problematic, right? So rude. But the father does it. He splits up the inheritance, gives his youngest son his part. The youngest son takes all of his inheritance, moves to a different country, distant land, squanders all of it with riotous living, party hardy. And then when he runs out of money, there happens to be a famine in the land, and he doesn't have any money, and all of his friends have left because he paid for them. Now he's run out of money, so now he's run out of friends. So it says he joins himself to a citizen in that country, and the citizen sends him into the field to feed pigs. Jewish audience, feeding pigs, problematic, right? I mean, there's something wrong there. But the kid is feeding pigs, slopping the pigs, and it says he comes to his senses and says, the servants in my father's house have enough to eat. I'm out here starving. I'm going to die from starvation when the servants in my father's house have enough bread, servants. So I'll go home and tell Dad, I screwed up. I sinned before God. I dishonored you. I'm sorry. Please make me as one of your hired help. And it says, on the way home, the father saw his youngest son from a distance, and the father ran to meet his son. Oh my goodness. In the Jewish tradition, this parable is called the chasing father, because the father leaves his home to reconcile his son. And the son, the younger son, says, I sinned before God, I've sinned before heaven and earth, and you, I'm sorry, Dad. And the father interrupts him. Doesn't even let him get to make me a hired servant. He doesn't even let him get that far. He calls his own servant, says, put a ring on his finger, sandals on his feet, a robe on his back. My son who was lost is found. Let's kill the fattened calf and have a huge party. Celebrate in the village, for my son who is dead is now alive. Lost, now found. So they're having a party. And the older son who's in the field hears the party, hears the dancing, and he's like, what's that all about? Calls the servant, and the servant tells the older brother, the oldest son, oh, your little brother came home and your dad's throwing a big party. What? Stop. Hold on just a second. We have a joke break. I know. Wait for it. Why did the librarian get kicked off the plane? A librarian, right? You wouldn't kick a librarian off of a plane. Why? Because the plane was overbooked. You're like, that is pathetic. I completely agree. It is very pathetic. So let's get back to something a little bit more encouraging and substantial. Now, the older son is cranky. He's ticked off. So he stays out in the field pouty, angry, upset. And the father, the chasing father, comes out to the older son. Again, notice that the father comes out of his house to both the younger son, who totally screwed up, and the older son. And the older son says to his dad, I did everything right. I served you. I've kept all of your commandments, and I did everything right. And you never gave me a young goat to celebrate with my friends. But this son, who's a reprobate, wasted his inheritance with prostitutes, comes home, you kill. So he's mad. He's angry. And the father says to him, son, you have always been with me. You're always with me. It's right that we celebrate that your brother's home. Come home. And I think this is so powerful for all of us. God is asking us, come home. Whether you've been the reprobate or you're the hyper-righteous, come home. We don't have to be nomadic. We don't have to look for fulfillment, look for significance, look for value, look for achievement, and find all of this, the things that we so desperately need and desire and crave. We crave love. We crave importance. We crave community. We crave acceptance. We crave belonging. All those things that we chase and turn us into nomads, they're all found with our Heavenly Father. He calls us to come home. Come home. Whether you're out in the field or whether you're broken from feeding pigs, poor choices that you made, or hyper righteous, whatever the issues are, come home. Come home to a reconciled relationship with your Heavenly Father, because He loves us. That's the very core of His heart. And home with our Heavenly Father is grounded in God's love, the Father's love for us. So I just want to encourage you, grab your copy of The Road Home. If you liked this episode, then you will love this book, because this book is about the road home for all of us. You can grab it on Amazon. I'm telling you, it's one of the best things Isabel and I have ever written. Isabel's my daughter, and I'm super, super stoked for you to get your copy. So thank you so much for watching this series on nomadic living. And I know that next week we're going to start to celebrate 4th of July, freedom, America, the found. So what's that going to look like for our episode next week? Well, you just got to watch and see.